Welcome back to another edition of Baseball for Maniacs. Today's topic of this video is going to be the Phillies opening day lineup, because in the last game against the Rays this afternoon in Clearwater, essentially Rob Thompson played his hand and showing us the opening day lineup. So let's go over it 1 through 9. I'll give you my thoughts, a couple key points, some interesting things I want to talk about. Now, this is for right-handed pitching, and we're going to be seeing Nathan Eovaldi on Thursday. I'll get into the lineup against left-handed pitching, but that's pretty much set where Sosa is going to play second. Kemp is going to be platooning for Marsh in left field. So leading off, no surprise, Trey Turner. Kyle Schwarber batting second, staying in that 2-hole where he finished second in the NL MVP voting in 2025. Harper's going to bat 3. Bomer's going to bat 4. Stott's going to bat 5. Garcia's going to bat 6. Brandon Marsh batting 7th. JT Realmuto batting 8th. Justin Crawford batting 9. So the major thing I want to discuss about is Harper staying in the 3-hole. Now, it's no secret that Harper likes to bat third. He's talked about it on numerous occasions. He likes that he has 2 plate appearances in the sense of Trey Turner comes up, Kyle Schwarber comes up, Bryce Harper can see the pitcher. But it was always that discussion, should he bat second to where he has more protection behind him in the sense of Kyle Schwarber? Bryce Harper came into camp saying the 4-hole has been a problem. Was he lying? Absolutely not. But for him to kind of say that was a little surprising in the sense of he essentially was throwing not only Alec Bohm under the bus, but Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto. Now, Nick Castellanos isn't on the team, so it doesn't matter. But if he was kind of complaining so much about not getting protection, most people were thinking, hey, put Harp in the 2-hole, put Schwarber in the 3-hole, kind of see how it goes. And he batted second in the WBC in front of Aaron Judge. So it's curious that they're not willing to try it. Now, the Phillies lineup, that has been the main problem in October. That is why we have been losing. They don't show up when they need to. But in 2025 and the past few seasons, they've had a damn good offense in the regular season. They were second in batting average last year, 8th in runs scored, 9th in home runs, 4th in on-base percentage, and 4th in slugging. So at the minimum, they were a top 10 offense last year. And I think with a couple breakout years, a couple bounce back years, I think they can be right there again to where, running it back essentially with this lineup, it's not that bad because it's a pretty good lineup. Now, I thought they were going to go Harper 2, Schwarber 3, and maybe they do eventually get to that point if Harper continues to struggle, had to 844 OPS, not elite year. It was still phenomenal, but Bryce Harper has made it a point to see more pitches, stop chasing. If he's going to get walked, he's going to take his walks. He said he wants to walk 140 to 150 times. That's unrealistic in the sense, but it just shows you where his mindset is, to where if he's looking like that, and he's in the 3-hole and he's still not getting pitches to hit because Bomer's hitting behind him, but he's taking his walks and Bomer's lacing singles to where they can go first to third, it's not going to be a problem. Now, Bohm cleanup. Alec Bohm has had a phenomenal spring training. Now, he does this every year. He hits some homers in Clearwater. We're like, is this the year he's going to break out? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Now, realistically, I think he's still going to be a 15-homer guy, because he's 29 years old. I don't think Bomer's going to change. And Jim Salisbury brought up an interesting point on WIP. I think that was either today or yesterday. Alec Bohm gets way too much criticism for the sense that he's not a 4-hitter, but he's put in that situation because we have no other option. Dave Dombrowski has failed to get a real 4-hitter in this lineup. He tried with Bo Bichette, didn't happen. He went to the Mets, to where if Alec Bohm was hitting 6th or 7th for you in your lineup, I think there would have been a no-brainer that he's one of the best hitters, most beloved players in Philadelphia. But when you put him in that 4 spot, when he struggles in October, granted, he had an 800 OPS this past October, but previous Octobers he struggled, the magnifying glass, the mirror is going to be on him. So, but in the sense of this lineup, I don't think there's really anyone you could have gone to. You can maybe say Adolis Garcia, and I mentioned that when we signed Adolis Garcia going into the offseason, that maybe put Garcia in the 4-hole just to switch things up. But with the spring trainings Garcia and Bohm both have had, I think Alec Bohm is the better fit for that, just because, one, he's done it before. And Adolis Garcia in a new team, putting him in the 4-hole, trying to protect Bryce Harper, I think puts a little bit too much pressure on him. Now, Adolis Garcia has had a pretty good spring training. He struggled to start off, but I mentioned that he was working on things with Kevin Long. It looks like he found his stroke at the right time, right before the season starts. But combined with what Bomer did, with Garcia did, I think it was a no-brainer. Put Bomer 4, put Garcia 6. My third point, which is very interesting, Stottie's most likely is going to bat 5 to start the year. I always thought they were going to go Marsh and Stott, Marsh at 5, Stott at 7. Now, I think that was their plan originally, but Bryson Stott's spring training has been phenomenal. Marsh, not so much, but I'm not too worried about Marsh. He had an injury to start spring training, didn't really get the at-bats, and we've seen Brandon Marsh get off to a slow start and eventually end the year with his counting numbers to where I think Stott has much more of a higher ceiling in that 5 hole than Brandon Marsh does. I don't think Brandon Marsh is going to have a bad year by any means because I think he's finally put in the role he needs to be, a strictly platoon player against right-handed pitching, because when he's facing right-handed pitching only, he not dominates, but he has an 800 OPS, which is phenomenal. But Bryson Stott, his best year was 2023, right? He was batting 5th for you in the playoffs. If Bryson Stott can build off that 2025 where he made that swing adjustment, him in the 5 hole, I think is going to lengthen this lineup tremendously to where I agree putting Stott in the 5 hole and putting Marsh in the 7 hole. Garcia batting 6, I like it. I mean, Garcia ended spring training very well with his bat to where putting him in the 6 hole with that kind of power, with that kind of threat, I mean, that's just a great move to where I think Adolis Garcia is a prime candidate for a bounce back year. JT batting 8th. JT's a good catcher, but his bat has declined tremendously over the years. And it's interesting that they put him in the 8 hole just because they've never really done that with JT. They've kind of always given him that 5th or 6th spot out of respect. But I do like that Rob Thompson is like kind of laying down the law, like, hey, buddy, we're happy to have you back. You got your 3 years, $45 million, but in this lineup, you're batting 8th. But I think JT is primed to have a bounce back year, maybe get a 740, 750 OPS. Think about JT last year, which was very shocking. He struggled mightily against left-handed pitching, which isn't really the case for right-handed hitters. They usually mask the opposite side. So I think that trend will change in 2026, and that'll help his counting numbers. And what JT does defensively, if he gives you anything with the bat, it's a net positive in regards to the player's value. And then Justin Crawford batting 9th. Justin Crawford probably is my most exciting player to watch this season, just because what I think he brings with the bat is going to give this lineup a new element of like speed, putting the ball in play, contact, causing chaos on the base pass. And I really like how Justin Crawford is going to be turning over the lineup for Trey Turner, because I think that 9-1 combo of speed, putting the ball in play can just lend to Schwarber seeing more pitches because there's more people on base. Bryce Harper in the 3 hole to where Justin Crawford batting 9th, ease him into Philadelphia. He's a rookie. He's 22 years old. This puts him in the best position to succeed, and I'm very excited to see what Justin Crawford does. Now, of course, no matter what they do in the regular season, because they've been a good regular season hitting team, of course, it all comes down to Red October, what they do when the lights are shining brightest. Are they going to hit in October? I have no freaking idea, dude. Anyone that says they know if they're going to hit in October or not is lying to you, because any offense can get hot at the right time. Any offense can get cold at the wrong time to where, I mean, it's baseball, man. Like, you can have a great team. If you don't perform well in the biggest games, you're going to lose. With the Philadelphia Phillies, it's mainly been their offense because they're pitching this year, and I went over their rotation and their bullpen in a couple episodes. Their pitching's going to be there. Their pitching's going to be ready to go, ready to compete. It's what can the bats do when it matters most. I have no idea. We're going to have to wait and see. But judging this team, you have to judge it month by month, game by game. If you go under the notion that you don't care what they do in the regular season, just wake me up in October, you're not going to enjoy this season. It's going to be miserable for you, because then no matter what they do, it's a lose-lose. If they struggle, you could be like, oh, this sucks, man. They're not a good team. But if they do well, you could always be like, well, what are they going to do in October? No one knows what they're going to do in October. Just enjoy the ride. And I think we do have a pretty good offense. And are they going to be better than last year? Well, let's go 1 through 9. Turner, if Turner gives you the production he did last year from the offensive side, I think we're in a really good spot. Trey Turner made an adjustment in the sense of he wanted to put the ball in play, hit more line drives. Rob Thompson told him that before spring training going into 2025, and he was man enough to make that adjustment. He was very professional with it. Some people at that stage in their career, he's a superstar, and making that adjustment, not a lot of players were willing to do that. He did, to where if he keeps that mindset, I think he's going to be phenomenal in the leadoff spot, to where if we get the Trey Turner of last year, that's a plus. Kyle Schwarber, I don't think we're going to get the Kyle Schwarber of last year just because of how phenomenal that was. 56 homers, second in NL MVP voting as a DH. But if he gives you 45 homers, a 240 batting average, 850, 900 OPS, that's still phenomenal. what Bryce Harper does in the 3-hole will determine the totality of this offense. Because if you have Kyle Schwarber clicking like he did last year, or even a lesser version, but still close, with a Bryce Harper quote unquote elite year, that 1 through 3 might be the best in baseball. Alec Bowman, a contract year. I think he has a better year than last year. I think injuries messed him up a little bit, missed some time, wasn't able to get into that groove, started off the season slow to where I expect Alec Bowman to have a bounce back year. Bryson Stott in the 5-hole. If Bryson Stott does what I think he's going to do, he's going to be the starting second baseman for the National League All-Star team. And what that's going to do for this lineup is going to be tremendous. It just lengthens that lineup to no extent. Garcia in the 6-hole. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. For you to expect him to be the 2023 version, I don't think that's going to happen. But if he can be somewhere in the middle, you got to think he's replacing Nick Castellanos. He's already going to be a much better defender. So the floor is super high in the sense of what he's going to do in totality as a baseball player. But if he's able to hit you 25 homers, maybe a 740, 750 OPS, that is really valuable out of the 6-hole. And we've really never had that in that spot in the lineup. Batting 7th, Brandon Marsh. I think Brandon Marsh is going to be who Brandon Marsh is. Mashes against right-handed pitching. Terrible against left-handed pitching. Is not going to see left-handed pitching barring an injury. JT, I mean, there's only up to go from here based on his 2025 season from the offensive side. He had a 700 OPS. If JT can give you 730, 740, that's very valuable in the 8-hole. Justin Crawford, like I said, very excited to what he's going to do at the bottom of the order. His bat-to-ball skills, I feel like, will translate over to rolling over to the top of the lineup. So I'm very excited. So I really think there's a lot of what-ifs, right? But there's always what-ifs in baseball. Like, you really don't know until the games are played. But I really do think this offense has a real chance to be better than it was last year. And, of course, all of this will be for nothing if they don't hit in October. But we have to get there first. We have to enjoy the ride. And before I end this video, let's get into the lineup that I think will be against left-handed pitching. Turner's still going to be leading off. Schwarber second, Harper third, Bowman 4. So that the 4 is not going to change, but I think Garcia slides into that 5-hole against left-handed pitching. JT is going to bat 6th, Otto Kemp 7th, Mundo Sosa 8th, Justin Crawford 9th. So essentially, it's just Otto Kemp replacing Brandon Marsh. Otto Kemp had a great spring, really showed that power with his bat, had a 900 OPS this spring. And I think he's going to mash against left-handed pitching. He's done it his entire career in the minors, in the majors. He was phenomenal against left-handed pitching to end the year last year, to where he was starting game 2 of the division series against Blake Snell. So I think he's going to be very productive with the bat. And Mundo Sosa always mashes against left-handed pitching. Mundo Sosa has put Rob Thompson in a tough spot to where everyone in the organization, most Phillies fans, think Bryce DeStott is an everyday player. But you have to get Mundo Sosa at bats, because even if Bryce Stott's an everyday player, I don't think he's doing what Mundo Sosa does against left-handed pitching. I think he could be productive, but Mundo Sosa has an 800 OPS against left-handed pitching in his career. So you got to get him in there. Justin Crawford, batting 9th against left-handed pitching. I mean, he mashes against lefties. His splits are not one way or the other. He actually hits left-handed pitching a little bit better. So that just lends into him being the everyday player, and you want as many everyday players as you can. Now, we have 2 starters that won't be everyday players just due to, one, Marsh can't hit left-handed pitching. Bryce DeStott, I think, can, but Mundo Sosa is much better at it. So in totality, I think this offense is going to be good. I think it's going to be top 5 this year. But whatever happens in October, happens in October. I think they have the right mindset. If Bryce Harper can stop chasing a little bit, can Trey Turner take his regular season success into the playoffs? He had a really good 2023, but in 24-25, he's been a no-show. Kyle Schwarber hit some homers to where his OPS looks good, but he hasn't been up to par in the sense of what he was doing in 22-23. So we're just going to have to wait and see, but I don't want to go into the season worrying about October. I want to enjoy the ride. I want to take each game for what it is, each month for what it is, because it's a 6-month journey before the playoffs. We have a long time and we have to get there. So let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about this lineup? Are you thinking it's going to be the same old, same old? Good regular season, does nothing in October. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Rob Thompson should have switched it up a little bit? Should Harper bat 2? Should Schwarber bat 3? Should Trey Turner bat 3 and go Schwarber, Harper, Turner? I would have loved that, but that's not going to happen. But that'll do it for this episode of Baseball for Maniacs. And as always, go Phils.